word disruption, for me, it should be neutral. It means, okay, it means unsettling, that's not neutral. It means stirring up, that's not neutral. Interrupting, so can it be neutral? But we are supposed to look at it as neutral from a business perspective, because we should look at it from both sides, opportunity and threat, and look at how best we can optimize. Now, disruption interferes or impacts or threatens at different levels of the business value chain and affects marketing in many ways. And I just want to look at some of the disruptive forces. Apart from the COVID-19 black swan, we have technology as a major disruptor because it keeps changing and forces us to change. But if you think about it, life is about change. From the time you are born, every time you have a birthday, isn't that a change? Each time you find new things happening to you, even as a person. As you are growing older, things are changing. So I think it's normal. It's normal life, but disruption is when it takes you out of the normal. It goes beyond the normal. It makes you not able to function in the traditional normal sense. Now, the other major force, economic recession. Of course, now the ones we are talking about is economic recession. We are talking about the Russian-Ukraine war and how it has affected the economy. That comes from politics. Social tensions. We are talking about the gap between the haves and the have-nots, and the income gaps, the joblessness in society, and of course climate change. We are talking about climate change. And the biggest concern about these disruptions is the speed and the magnitude and even the complexity that it presents to marketers, to firms, to businesses, and to branding. I picked all these things because I'm looking at the PESTEL framework, the political, environment, economic, social, technology, and the like, and how they have impacted or created disruptive forces. Now, when we look at the disruptive forces, you remember in the past we had food, then we had organic, and now we have GMO coming. That is disruption. You've heard how people are reacting to that. In the past, we had taxis. Then we had Uber. And Uber was called a disruptor. And then other people came to interrupt the Uber. And if you look at the world of business, there is always going to be that kind of change because there is innovation and different organizations are coming up and making a change. We used to talk about M-Pesa. In fact, even to this day, we say M-Pesa was a disruptor. It disrupted banking and made a very huge difference in the country by increasing the velocity of money and enabling people to trade very quickly. Then population structure in Kenya. We say we have a bottom of the pyramid kind of population structure where we have so many people at the bottom, I mean young, and some very few people in the older ages. So the upper you go in age, the fewer you are. And the previous speaker was talking about investments and talking about age groups. And how you can be left alone because your children are gone. And in reality is that, yeah, there is also that your age mates will also be doing. Then what did that do? Recently, we have another disruptor called the wheelbarrow. Who imagined that a wheelbarrow could take Kenya by the storm? Many people sitting here, many people who are very well informed, they were called elitist because they questioned the value of a wheelbarrow. They wondered whether it can really matter. It's a symbol that could change things. And of course, the bottom-up concept, the elites also found it a bit far-fetched, but apparently it was resonating with the bottom of the pyramid. And in marketing, we also talk about marketing at the bottom of the pyramid. You all know about the Kadogo economy, the Kadogo marketing strategies, which are meant to tap the bottom of the pyramid to reach the people who have limited resources. Then the other thing that has happened is also the change in power structures. In the past, the power structure, the people at the bottom did not have so much power. Consumers did not have so much power. Power was held by brands, by the organizations. I don't know from where you sit in your organization. Do you feel like today there has been a change in terms of power structure between you and the consumers? The way we used to communicate in the past, how did we used to talk to consumers? We used to talk down, almost down. We used to tell them what to do and how to do it and why they should do it. And we knew everything, the marketers. You just look at some of the previous communications, you start to see. But today, you notice the change in the communication because of the understanding of that change in the power structures. I picked all these things because I'm looking at the PESTEL framework, the political, environment, economic, social, technology, and the like, and how they have impacted or created disruptive forces. Now, think about the Constitution, the 2010 Constitution. Was it a disruptor or was it not? In Kenya terms, 2010 Constitution disrupted something. Anybody who worked in the past and has the map of Kenya marketing map, Kenya marketing territories, and then you look at today's marketing territories, that has changed totally since the 2010 Constitution because it created counties and changed the way money is distributed and created customers in places the map of Kenya never used to consider. Actually, the map of Kenya used to look like something funny. The marketing map of Kenya, I mean. Today, the marketing map of Kenya is wider. It has not covered the whole of Kenya, but it's much wider than it was in the past, before that change. So disruptors can come from anywhere. And the question for us in marketing is, how do you prepare yourself to be adaptive so that you can take advantage of such opportunities? Then the Constitution introduced wealth declaration. The previous speaker was talking about wealth, how to build wealth. And this week, I think this is our last week, we've been treated to wealth declaration in public by, well, future cabinet secretaries. If you sit in government, you must declare your wealth. So it's only now that this vetting committee decided to make it a public affair. You declare your wealth and it's kept in private. Unless something happens where somebody must go to court to really get the right to access your wealth declaration. But that is the law that Parliament passed. But during this vetting, the Parliament was able to waive that privacy and say this is part of the vetting process to know the kind of wealth you have now, so that when you come to cabinet, if you build so much wealth, you will tell us how you increased your wealth. So all these are disruptors. The whole question is, are you open-minded enough to see opportunity in these things? Like when you saw that wealth declaration, what did you think? Did you see opportunity? Yes, I started to see a lot of opportunity and untapped opportunity in this country. It means we can market affluent brands. And by the way, that's one of the interesting areas. In Kenya, the people who are wealthy and maybe have more money, who also may be older, do not get any attention from marketers. Because somehow in marketing, we learned that people do not change after the age of, I don't know, is it 40? What age do you not touch even in your target markets for advertising? 45 and above, And that is where all the money is. So what opportunity if somebody could build, and of course learn how to communicate with that particular target group and build brands that focus on them, or even use existing brands that are suitable, but market it in a specific way where they'll be able to communicate with those older people, those wealthier people, without sounding outrageous. Because by the way, when you talk to some of those kinds of people, if you speak the same language that you speak to your bottom of the pyramid, they know you are not even talking to them. They don't even hear you. It just passes. Yeah? So I saw opportunity myself. So of course, over the years, one of the major forces that we have recognized is digital transformation as a major disruptor. We have also seen how it has impacted the business environment, causing unparalleled volatility in industry. When I talk about power structures and between consumers and organizations and brands, what I'm talking about is this thing where you find that consumers have developed power by being able to own and share information among themselves and being able to talk about brands in their own language, the way they want, and to share it out there, and being able then to influence each other, making the brand communication not as neat as it used to be. Because in the past, in branding, once you decided what you wanted to communicate, that's what people knew about your brand. But today, you can communicate this, but people experience the other, and they talk about it in social media and create their own narrative. And that connectivity has created a different power structure. So consumers now have more power than they used to have over brands. And this is what is being reflected in changing consumer behavior, in the way consumers are communicating, in the way they are accepting brand communication, in the way they are challenging what you are saying about your brand. So connectivity is what has actually redefined this influence. I don't know if you, now that you seem not to read much, there's this book called Marketing 3.0. Who has read Marketing 3.0? At least Marketing 2.0, Marketing 3.0. In that book, you would learn about that, the kind of changes, the disruption and the changes in the power structures within the marketing field, and how then to work to gain your balance and sort of build a bit more capacity. Yeah? Now, the things that consumers will talk about your brand are usually different from what you say about your brand. Or they might be aligned if you are being honest. If you've been authentic and your brand presents information that is consistent to what you deliver, you don't promise what you don't deliver, you are consistent, then maybe the communication will be aligned. But if you promise things and your customer experience is not aligned with what you say, then the communication will be different. Who do you think people will believe? Will they believe the consumer, friend of theirs, or will they believe the brand? They believe their friend, isn't it? And that is where the power question comes. That's the power we are talking about. So in such situations, then purchase decisions become social decisions. I tell you, I'm planning to buy this. Have you seen it? I send you, the email, the picture, the communication. You look at it, you tell me, no, I bought it. It's not true. What they are saying is not true. They don't deliver that. Will I buy it? No, that's part of that power play that has emerged, where consumers are actually creating their own communication, their own narratives, their own interpretation of the brand. And what is interesting is that we maybe didn't expect that consumers will be complying, but the reality is they become more like a single force. That is, people who hang together, peer groups, tend to influence each other in terms of what to buy, what to think even, which books to read, and stuff like that. And I can tell that here I don't have very many peers, because I seem to read awkward books, the kind of books people are not reading. Then one of the interesting things about that confirmation is that today's customer seems to be seeking social proof. Show me through my friends that what you are saying is true. If my friends agree, I will agree with your brand message. So some people ask this interesting question about population. When we went to school, we were taught geography, population, and all that. And today, people say that the most populous country in the world may not be a country. That the question is China the most populous country in the world? Is India the most populous country in the world? Or is it the United States of Facebook? All of you are citizens of the United States of Facebook, based on what I heard your responses to Dr. Reting when he was speaking. So, in a world where we are all citizens in another country, you can access almost anyone in the world. You can network across. If a brand is trying to talk to you, How should they interpret you? By the country you sit in or by that other global behavior? Yeah? So those are questions for people to think about in branding. So you have to look at business from a different perspective, at profitability from a different perspective. And I want to pause here and show us another video clip, the brand race. So thank you very much.